All right, good morning, e-learners. We are starting off with a quiz today. So if you look at the email that I sent you, if you haven't already figured it out, I want you to take the quiz first. Take 10 minutes to take the quiz. Make sure you hit the submit button and then come back to this video. Okay, on quiz days, we just turn in homework and I will grade it. If you have any specific questions about your homework, please email me. Here's your homework for tonight. Okay, if you need to pause the video, go ahead and pause the video. We are moving on. So today's lesson is called Writing Expressions from Word Phrases. What we're really working up to is how to do word problems. But before you do word problems, you need to be able to learn or understand how you turn text into expressions and equations. So rather than do a word problem right from the start, we're going to investigate and learn the proper way of turning sentences and phrases and paragraphs into mathematical expressions and eventually equations tomorrow. And then finally we'll get to word problems. So here we go. Two basic objectives. Here we go. All right, so remember our main goal here is that I will give you a phrase or a sentence and you will write the mathematical expression that it relates to, or in other words, what it is. Before we do that, we have to talk about operator vocabulary. That's a big fancy word, right? Here's the definition, words that represent a mathematical operator. Just fancy words for English words that stand for add, subtract, multiply, and divide. And you're probably saying, well, there's 4 words right there. And sure, you can use add, subtract, multiply, and divide. For instance, add 2 and 3, that would be 2 plus 3. But typically in regular English speech or usage and how you talk amongst your friends or even formally, we would generally not say add 2 and 3. So there's a lot of words that could mean addition, and here are the words that you will most likely see in our book. So make sure these are in your notes. So for addition, we have the words total, the total of 2 and 3, that means add 2 and 3. Sum, the sum of 2 and 3. 2 more than 3, that would be 3 plus 2. Or 2 increased by 3, that would be 2 plus 3. So all those 4 words, total, sum, more than, increased by, could be used to indicate that what we're doing is addition. Okay. Now I like to talk about $10 words. There really isn't a $10 word other than addition for addition, but there is a $10 word for subtraction. Do you remember it? Well, the $10 word for subtraction is the word difference, the difference of 10 and 5. That's 10 minus 5. Now, of all of the operator symbols, add, subtract, multiply, and divide, subtraction is the one that is challenging. And it has to do with how in the English language we talk about subtracting. And you'll see when I give the examples why it's complicated. If you see the word difference, the next 2 things that follow the word difference are the order that you write subtraction. The difference of 10 and 5, that's 10 minus 5. However, when you see less than or decreased by or fewer than, you will see, or you'll learn very quickly, that that may not be the order that you write the numbers. You need to read it carefully and make sure that the English sentence or phrase matches the mathematical expression. Okay, multiplication, the $10 word is product. You also might see times, the product of 2 and 3. That's 2 times 3. Or literally, it might say 2 times 3. Now, there's some other words also that can mean multiplication. I don't have them listed here, but they're more common sense ones. If I say double the number 2, I'm sorry, let's be a better example. Double 8, that would be 2 times 8. Triple, the same thing, 3 times 8. Okay? Lastly, division, the $10 word is quotient, and just like difference and product, the 2 numbers that follow the word quotient are the order that you will write division. And remember, in pre-algebra and above, the course that you're in, we write division with a fraction bar, even though I'm literally showing you the division symbol there. But if it says the quotient of 10 and 5, that means 10 divided by 5, or the fraction 10 over 5. Make sense? Okay. So remember, our goal was to write a mathematical expression that represents a phrase or sentence. In other words, I'll give you a phrase or sentence, and you write the mathematical phrase. Okay? In other words, you write the what looks like math. All right. A lot of times kids want to have steps. Hey, what are the steps to do this? And these are basically the steps. Well, step 1 is you read, right, and you identify, well, what are we doing? Adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. How do you do that? You find the operator vocabulary. Once you determine whether you're adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing, hey, find the number. That's the next easiest thing to do. Literally, look for the word THREE or whatever word is representing the number, okay? Once you figure out the operator vocabulary and the number or numbers involved, then many times you might have to assign a variable. Now, sometimes it will literally tell you, use the variable X. Tonight for homework, most of the questions tell you the variable to use. The key word there is to look for the phrase a number. If it says a number increased by 3, well, I don't know what that number is, so you need to assign a variable, x. X plus 3 would be a number increased by 3. Okay, and then lastly, put all the things together to write the expression. If I had to add a step 5, it would be to reread the phrase or sentence and make sure it matches precisely your mathematical expression. Make sense? We're going to start off easy. So my first example here is a number increased by 3. So let's see, what's the operator vocab? Increased by, right? Increased by means addition, and it says increased by 3. Now be careful, if I write 3 plus, I'm not increasing by 3, I'm increasing by whatever happens after the plus symbol. So the 3 needs to go there with the plus symbol on the left, because now you're going to be increasing something, we don't know what yet, by 3. If it says 3 plus, technically you're not increasing by 3, you're increasing by, well, whatever you write after the plus symbol. Okay? A number. Notice there is no variable there, it just says a number. So assign a variable, any one of the 26 letters works, x plus 3. And I said, let's read it again, a number increased by 3. And that's literally what that says. X plus 3 is a number increased by 3. Questions? Okay. All right, let's do another one. I said the one that you'll most likely make a mistake on is subtraction. So let's take a look at subtraction. It says 7 fewer. And boy, do you want to write 7 minus. But think about that. In fact, on your paper, write 7 minus. Are you subtracting 7 there? No, that's 7 minus some other number that we haven't written yet. So to write 7 fewer, you need to write minus 7. So I'm going to subtract 7 from something. What's the something I'm going to be subtracting it from? A number t. So it tells us the variable this time. So subtract 7 from the variable t, and there you go, t minus 7. Subtraction is the one that you got to be careful. If you see the word difference, the difference of t and 7 would be t minus 7. But generally, all the other words, you got to be really careful. I don't want to say they're always backwards, but you got to be very careful and just read it and make sure it makes sense. One more? Okay. So here's another easy one. A number x times 10. So clearly the operator word is times, and that's multiplication. You can put a dot, parentheses. You can put an x, but notice we put an x. The variable here is x as well too, and that would be confusing. So I would recommend a dot or parentheses. All right, what are we multiplying by? We're multiplying by 10. So we're multiplying something times 10. What's that something? In this case, it's x. So that's a number x times 10. Now you remember multiplication is commutative, so you could also write this as 10x as well. Okay, any questions? No? All right, let's move on to the more challenging ones. Notice there's not one operator word there. There are 2. It says 3 more than, right? That's addition. But twice means multiplication, so we need to be careful. So it doesn't matter the order that you do this, right? You can simply read it and try to plug things in. It has to make sense now. I'll just read it from left to right. 3 more than. 3 more than would be what? Plus, right? Plus 3. That would be 3 more than. Twice a number n. Twice a number. That would be what? 2 times n. So there you go. That's 3 more than twice a number n. And you're like, well, the order of that expression doesn't match the order of the words. True, but the meaning of the words does match how I wrote that mathematical expression. So don't always assume that the order of the sentence will be the order of the mathematical expression. Does that make sense? Okay. And I just always recommend just keep reading it over and over and over again and make sure that you convince yourself that the expression you write is exactly the same as the words in the phrase or the sentence. All right, one last hard one. Here we go. Okay, how many operator words do we have here? Well, less than would be subtraction, and quotient will be division. So once again, we have 2 here. So let's see, 9 less than. How do you write 9 less than? Don't you really want to write 9 minus? But if you write 9 minus, I don't know what you're subtracting. That's not 9 less than, that's 9 minus something else. To write 9 less than, that would be minus 9. That's 9 less than, well, whatever's on the left side of that minus sign. What's on the left side? It says the word quotient, one of our $10 words. And the nice thing about those $10 words is you write the numbers that appear after the word quotient exactly as they appear. In other words, quotient means division, fraction bar. So the next number goes in the top, the numerator, and the second thing, in this case, a number n, goes in the denominator. Now you're going to need to take a look at that. Pause the video, read it at least twice, and then look what I wrote and make sure that's clear in your mind. 9 less, that's minus 9. The quotient of 6 and n. 6 goes on the top, n goes on the bottom, or numerator, denominator. Okay? All right, we got 4 easy ones, and then we'll do, I don't know, a bunch of more challenging ones. Here we go. Oh, by the way, if you want to go ahead and come up with an answer and then hit the play button, absolutely do that. Okay, so let's see. We got 10 more than h. 10 more than h. Well, 10 more would be plus 10. Well, it's telling me the variable h, so that's h plus 10. Now, I said we're always going to use the fraction bar. If you forget and you write the division symbol, make sure you write it in the right order. K divided by 2. Once again, here's one where it literally is exactly the way it's written, both in the English words and the mathematical expression. If you write this with a fraction bar, that would be k on the top, the numerator, and the denominator would be 2. So you're not going to see me use the division symbol again. Okay? All right, the next one, 6 times x. Heck, that's simple, 6 times x. You could also write 6x, or 6 parentheses x. And the last one, 12 less. How do you write 12 less than? That would be not 12 minus, that would be minus 12. So this would be g minus 12. How are you guys doing? Okay. All right, I got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 problems. The first 3 to 4 of those are easy. The last one is really hard, right? And I have not shown you how to do the last one. So if you want, as a challenge, try to do all of them and give the last one a good thought. Go ahead and put it on pause, write all the answers on a separate sheet of paper, and then hit play, and then we'll see how you did. Okay, let's see. The first one, the product of x and 6, that would be x times 6, or 6x. Remember, multiplication is commutative. I can do it in any order. Let's see, 4 more, that would be plus 4. Then a number r, that would be r plus 4. 8 less, be careful with subtraction. 8 less than, that would be minus 8. A number t, that would be t minus 8. You getting the hang of those subtraction ones? Yeah, they're challenging. Oh, now we come to the ones that have 2 operations. So the fourth one there, 3 less than, well, just like the previous one, 3 less than would be minus 3. Twice a number n, well, that would be 2n. Second to last one, 4 more than, okay, that would be plus 4. The quotient of h and 7. I said we weren't going to write the division symbol again. We're going to use fraction bar. So h over 7 plus 4. The last one is tricky, tricky, tricky. The first 2 words, the product, right? That means multiplication. When you multiply, you're multiplying 2 things at once. So what's the first thing? Right after the word product, it's one of those $10 words, is the first number you're multiplying by. So the first number is 2, but look at what it now says. It doesn't say 2 and 8. It says 2 and something, 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 something. So every bit of that something, 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 something must be put in parentheses. I'll say that again. When you multiply, that's the product, you multiply by 2 things. The very first number that follows the word product is the first number, and whatever happens next is the second number. But here's the problem. It doesn't say the product of 2 and 8. It says the product of 2 and the sum of 8 and n. Well, the sum of 8 and n is that second thing you're going to multiply. So this one will require parentheses. You see how I did that? Okay, so that last one is tricky. There are many tonight for homework that are like that last one. So make sure you commit that one. All right, first objective over. You can write a variable expression that represents a text. The second one is the opposite. This time I'm going to give you an expression right? Big picture is I'm going to give you an expression, a mathematical expression. You're going to write words for it. So here's your first one. Now there's many things you can do. Any one of those multiplication words you can use. The product of 3 and x. Or you could say 3 times a number x. Any one of those is fine. How about this one? Pause, come up with your answer, and then hit play. All right, let's see. I could say x increased by 7. I could say 7 more than x. Or I could say the sum of x and 7. Any of those would be correct. There's probably a few more. I just gave you 3. Okay? 7 more than a number x. Make sense? All right, let's do the bit more challenging ones. All right, how about this one? Ooh, division. We said division, we're going to use that $10 word, the quotient. So this one's easy. The quotient of 5 and x. See how easy that one is? And the last one. Okay, you got to be careful with this. Remember, with subtraction, you got to be very careful. Now, you could say the difference of 2x and 1, right? That's probably the easiest way. If you don't want to use the word difference, if you want to use fewer than or less than, you'd have to say 1 less than 2 times a number x. So there's 2 options there. Got it? All right, how about 3 more and we call it a day? All right, let's do that. All right, first one, let's see, 6 less than t. The second one, the quotient of x and 4. And the last one, this is the tricky one, the product of 2 and f less than 5. I'll say that again. The product of 2 and the difference of 5 and f. There's another way. Okay, last way, the product of 2 and f fewer than 5. All of those mean the same thing. All right, guys, if you have any questions, make sure you send me an email. Don't forget, if you haven't done that quiz, you got to do the quiz. All right, here's your homework for tonight. Good luck. And as always, if you have any questions, send me an email. And I will see you guys tomorrow.